Question number 7, Phil Twyford. Order. Order. Phil Twyford. Order. Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Pleasure.
My question is for the Minister for Building and Housing. Does he stand by his statement when asked about the housing crisis that the idea that suddenly happened in May 2016 is a figment of some people's imagination?
Speaker.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, I stand by my full statement, which was preceded by this. I've been a Member of Parliament for 26 years dealing with constituency cases every single year involving families in desperate situations around housing, including people living in caravans and people living in garages as well as cars. This is not new.
Order. Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
What is the government's position on the housing crisis? Paula Bennett admits there's a crisis. John Key says crisis is an emotive word, and he says it's a figment of someone's imagination.
Speaker, every one of those claims by the member were typical half quotes. There's no question that New Zealand is doing well. Our population has grown by 70,000 over the last year, and particularly housing issues have become a real challenge in Auckland. I'd also have to say that in Christchurch, where rents have dropped by 5% and the government's measures to address the housing shortages over the earthquakes has seen a drop in the number of acute people facing housing need.
Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
He accused the media this morning of inventing promises. Was he denying that in last year's budget he pledged 500 hectares of Crown land for housing but has only delivered 13 hectares, or was it just a figment of the media's imagination?
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, I challenge the member to go back and read the press release from last year's budget, in which $52 million was committed to the Crown Land Program. All of that money has been spent in purchasing land, and that land is going to be providing houses, 940 houses for Aucklanders that I assume members opposite would welcome.
Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Dr Parmjeet Palmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Has the Minister seen today's housing affordability data from interest.co.nz, and what does it say about home ownership costs as compared to a year ago and when National came to office?
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
This independent index of affordability was previously named the Roost Index, and it measures the proportion of a single person on the median wage to serve an 80% mortgage on a median priced house. The index today stands at 58% nationally and has improved over the last year from 62% and is about 20% better than what it was in 2008. The index in Auckland is currently 93%, down from 96% at the same time last year, and 101% where it was at its very worst under the last Labor government. This index shows actually housing affordability both nationally and in Auckland has improved over the last year and is significantly better than at the time when Labor was in government.
Order. Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When he promised in his 2014 budget initiative that he would knock $3,500 off the cost of a new home, was that a figment of our imagination, given that plasterboard costs alone have gone up more than the total saving that he promised?
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
I absolutely stand by the initiative taken in Budget 2014 to take tariffs off building materials. The advice I've had from the Ministry is that the reduction in those tariffs is within 10% of the estimates that I gave at that time. I totally dispute the member's claim that the cost of plasterboard has gone up by 50%.
Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
Isn't it actually the Minister who has the overactive imagination, given that he dreams that houses can magically appear on cemeteries and exploding substations?
Speaker.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, I'd focus on the facts. The facts are when Labor left government, only 10 houses per working day were being built. The latest figures show that, in fact, 40 houses per working day are being built, and I suggest that's where the answer lies.
Order. Question number 8, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.